Here we are. So, this is World Anvil. If any of you are unfamiliar, it's a super awesome website where you can build your own campaign worlds, and it just compiles all of your articles and notes and maps and everything that you have into one pretty convenient place. You can create new articles, or you can look at other people's creations for inspiration, and they've kind of got this like almost social media thing going on. Like you can like follow other people's worlds and join their stuff. I don't even, there's so much stuff on here, it's crazy, but it's awesome. Everything you need to like create your own campaign setting. If you are a DM or running any sort of game, or you're an author that wants to write like fantasy novels or anything like that, like get on World Anvil. It's free. There is a paid version that gives you like a ton more stuff, but the free version has like everything you need to make your own world. It's awesome. So if you guys are ready, hopefully there's enough of you guys here to get involved. We have some polls and stuff. It'd be very helpful if everyone would chip in and actually vote on the polls. It will make things much more fun. But I have some cool ideas. So if you guys are ready, I guess we'll start. I am going to be, making this into a YouTube video, so we'll do the YouTube introduction and all that good stuff. But hopefully you guys are still hanging with me here. And if this is like a thing that we are doing weekly and people aren't really feeling it, or people come up with an idea or something better we could do for like a community night every Tuesday or whatever, definitely don't be afraid to let me know what you guys are feeling about it. Or if you're like, you've been enjoying it but you haven't really been able to pitch in, or you don't feel comfortable with that, like that's cool too. We can definitely figure something out. Pickle Deer, hello, welcome to the stream. How's it going? You're just in time. We're just about to start the old Tuesday night world building stream. Got some pretty cool ideas for what we're going to do tonight. Kind of short and sweet. We're going to keep it to a little bit less than an hour, I think, but we've got some cool topics to talk about today as far as world building goes, which hopefully you'll be interested in that as a fellow DM. And of course, we will be back with the live campaign tomorrow night, and I'm super excited to pick up where we left off, right in front of the zombie purple worm last week, which was pretty exciting. All right, let's get started here. You guys hear everything okay? Hopefully the sound and all that jazz is of good quality and volume. All right. Welcome to the channel, everybody. My name's Jesse. This is the Elder Council, where we talk about D&D, and today is the community world building session. This is a live streamed session where we are focused on building our own campaign setting / fantasy universe world from ground up. This is on our Twitch channel, and if you're watching this on YouTube, feel free to leave comments as you watch the video, and your input about the world building will be taken into account, just like if you were here on the live stream. But feel free to check us out live Tuesday nights for the world building. We go over, different brainstorming topics, anything from, as you can see on the page, the races of the world to the origin of the world, the magic systems, magic items, anything and everything. We're creating our own campaign setting, and then eventually, when it gets done, we will release it as a PDF for free for you guys, so everyone who helped contribute to this world can run a game in their favorite RPG in the setting that they helped to create. So, where we're going to start today, I have kind of an interesting topic that I wanted to involve in the session this week. And like I said, if you are watching this later, come over to the Twitch and you'll be able to, discuss things with us here on the stream live. But your YouTube comments will be added in as well. If you get some cool ideas, just drop them in the comments and I will add them to the World Anvil page. World Anvil is the website that we use to collect all of our notes and ideas here. If you haven't checked it out, definitely do. This is not sponsored. I just really love the product that they have. It's like the best like DM journal / notebook that you could find. But the topic today that I wanted to talk about is restriction in design. How can restricting the process or the idea for what you're going to create actually lead you to be more creative and give you a better outcome and be more interesting and fun along the way. I think this is a topic that's pretty common with writing or designing or even, fine art. But when you give yourself self-imposed restrictions or deadlines with your writing and art, it can lead to some pretty cool results. And the main restriction that I wanted to talk about today is restricting things that are commonly found in fantasy settings. Since we are kind of coming at this campaign setting or world from a D&D like 5e perspective, that would be races that are commonly found in the player's handbook. Like when you start a campaign of D&D, like you expect, all right, the 9 player's handbook races are going to be in this game. Every subclass of wizard is going to be in this game. And I think if you set out to build a campaign setting that doesn't have some of that stuff that everyone expects, it can be way, way more interesting and more fun. And, a player might start a campaign and you have your, pre-campaign planning session with all your players in your group, and you tell them, like, guys, there's no halflings in this world because this great event happened and wiped out the halfling continent or something. You make up whatever reason you want, but or there's no dwarves, there was an earthquake and the mountain dwarves all died. Whatever you want, or they just never existed anyways. And it makes, the guy who's the stubborn, your stubborn friend Jim, who always plays a dwarf barbarian, this time he is going to have to pick something different. He might just do like a human barbarian, but it gets people out of their comfort zone. And if you have a good enough reason that is tied into the lore of your world, and maybe you can bring that into the campaign, or maybe one of your players gets to be that thing that doesn't exist and they're from like a different plane or something, you can do a lot of really cool stuff in your campaigns with this type of restriction. And it just leads you to think outside the box when you're designing the world as well, not just when you're starting the campaign. When you have the finished world, like, it makes you think about those lore and historical challenges to place into the world. Why are there no dragonborn in your world? Why did the half elves never happen in this place? Like, there's a lot of really cool things you can do with restrictions. So the first thing I wanted to do today with you guys is actually do a poll, and I have this straw poll here, and I'm going to, I don't know how long these polls last for. If somebody knows, let me know. But I'm going to do which player's handbook race should not exist in our world. And I know that some people are going to be opposed to this. And if you are a DM and you ever want to pitch into this and you ever run a game in this campaign setting, once we finish it, you don't have to do this. This is the whole thing. And we're homebrewing an entire world. You can change whatever you want about it. You can take inspiration from this design brainstorming session and make your own thing. But I think it'd be really fun if we, went along with it. If you are just super opposed to not having all of the 9 players handbook races and you demand that you have them all available to you, that's totally fine. But it can be cool. Anyways, so create poll. I will put a link to this in the Twitch chat right now so you guys can all vote. And we will make the results available. So if you are in the Twitch chat right now, you can vote live which player's handbook race should not exist in our world. And we can come up with the reasons, all that stuff later. Don't even worry about it. Just like, if you think of a cool idea, if you right now you just got struck by inspiration, you're like, gnomes should not exist in this world because blah, blah, blah reason, then vote for that. And then when we get to the reason why the thing doesn't exist, then we can add that into our note page, and that will be one of the possible reasons. But for right now, don't even worry about that. It's just going to be, this creative restriction just for fun, to get the creative juices flowing. And I don't know how long these straw polls last for, but if I can, I will put a link to it in the YouTube comments. So if you're watching this later on YouTube, check down in the description box dealio. And if there's a link to this straw poll, then it's still up and live, and I will leave it up for a week until the next world building session, and then we will choose the results from there. So this should be live for 1 week from this moment. See if there's any results yet at all. Oh yeah, we got some votes. Yeah. All right, I won't check any more results after this because I do want to keep it a surprise, and we'll just check in. We'll check in with this live on the world building stream next week to see what people go with. But I really like that people are voting for human. Like, it's not the most obvious thing to have a fantasy world with no humans, you know? I think personally, I wouldn't design a world that didn't have humans in it in my campaign settings or whatever if I was going to make my own, which I am working on one right now. It definitely has humans in it. But I think it could be cool if you didn't, you know, that's a way to go like real high fantasy, high magic, like way out there. Fantasy would be a non-human world. I think most of the time I prefer almost like low fantasy, low magic, heavy human stories because it's so much more realistic and easy for people to relate to a story if it's through human dialogue and storylines. Even, you know, if you are role playing in D&D and you play as a dragonborn, your character is a dragonborn, but really their personality is just whatever role play human personality that you give it, right? You can't possibly think like a dragonborn. Maybe you can role play really well and your character like is just this alien personality that nobody could relate to. But it's very difficult to, you know, relate to anything or come at a situation from a perspective that's not human for a person because you're a human, right? So that's why a lot of people don't even like having like elves in their world. I think Matt Colville is not a fan of his players playing as elves and doesn't commonly use elves as, you know, NPCs that are just running around with the people. I think elves usually for him are just like really special, like almost celestial type beings that are so alien that, you know, players can't play them because they're so alien and weird, which I think is cool as well. There's so many different ways to do this kind of stuff. That's the whole point of this, is to put that creative restriction on yourself or your campaign and come up with things that are different than just like elves are like the magic forest people like in Tolkien's work, or, you know, dwarves are craftsmen who live under a rock. Like, you can do different and better and more interesting things than that for your world, and you should feel free to do that. Pickle Deer says, that was me, picked human largely because it seemed like the least obvious pick, and I've seen a lot of people do games that had this or that racial restrictions, but I don't think I've seen a non-human campaign world run before, at least not in D&D. Yeah, exactly. It's very uncommon in D&D, and like I was saying, like, I personally probably wouldn't even run a non-human campaign. Well, I guess at least I wouldn't create my own non-human world because I so much love, you know, this relatable storytelling with real personalities and stories that people can really feel attached to. But I like writing, and I'm really interested in that, and I don't think that you get that with, you know, such alien worlds with no humans and stuff. But I think if we came up with a campaign setting that was non-human and came up with a cool adventure, I'd run it. It'd be a lot of fun. There's a really famous D&D like green text meme campaign that's being run by some guy on Reddit, and he posts about it every once in a while. And the whole campaign is just this group of lizard folk, and everyone in the party is a lizard folk, and they're all like total savage, like barbarians with no social skills or manners whatsoever, and it's amazing. But it'd be cool to have a whole world of that. Let's see, Dr. Feargood. Yes, it should allow you to vote more than once. Let's check back to the results. I don't know. It should allow you to. If you guys want to, you should be able to vote for more than one thing. If you think we should create a world that doesn't have humans, dragonborns, half elves, or half orcs, like, go for it. Whatever you want to do. But yeah, you guys can pick more than one if that's what you want to do. you've played in and run games where they were like, we're going to all be monster characters and the world itself still had humans in it, right? And that can be interesting too, right? Like you could set that restriction on your campaign or your party, like the whole party is going to be humans and you're going to be traveling through lizard folk kingdom and there's no other humans and you're the first ones that they've found. That could be cool. Or your entire party is gnomes and you're traveling to the elf land, right? Anything like that. Those are super simple, basic examples, but you can really put a lot of restrictions on things to make something more interesting. If you had a campaign and you already know the party's going to be traveling to the lizard folk kingdom and your party ends up being a dwarf, an elf, a halfling, and a human, then it's just a regular party going to lizard folk world. But if you're all gnomes, you're all humans, like, or you're all lizard folk and you're returning there, you can add a lot of intrigue to your storyline just from restrictions in your choices. You can only vote once. Okay, well, I apologize. If we get to it when we enter whatever like wins the vote into the World Anvil next week, if you really want another option, we can note that down as well. Ran a goblin game that was a lot of fun. It was Christmas themed, Christmas goblins. That's awesome. So yeah, pickle deer, and let me actually mention this since we are talking about this. This is something I've done in the Elder Council campaign, the live game that we play every Wednesday on stream. If you're watching this on YouTube, come by and check us out on Wednesday nights. We have the main campaign party, which is, you know, a couple of different random characters and classes and all that. But every once in a while, we'll take a break from the main campaign and do like a little bit of a side story. While our heroes are out adventuring in some dungeon, we'll get a kind of perspective B look at the side party that we created, which is all goblins. It's called the Goblin Squad. And a couple adventures ago, the main party, they were finishing up, or they got kind of to a safe stopping point, and we went off with the Goblin Squad. And I like to use the Goblin Squad to run pre-written adventures that came out for like original D&D. So the first thing that we did was ran the Goblin Squad through White Plume Mountain, which is a famous like funhouse dungeon adventure written in 1979, I believe, for, you know, AD&D. And I think they had a ton of fun. The Goblin Squad just got into like some crazy hijinks, and they ended up getting a bunch of cool magic weapons and stuff like that. And then the last we saw of the Goblin Squad is actually right before you joined Pickle Deer, the Goblin Squad. Like they left White Plume Mountain, and the guys all made it through the adventure on stream and everything. I think it took us about 4 sessions to complete that, which was supposed to be a one-shot. That's how much shenanigans the goblins got into. But yeah, they got some like really sick like legendary weapons and stuff that are way more powerful than they probably should have. It does have 3 artifact weapons. Yeah, it has Whelm, Wave, and Black Razor, which are like for like level 7 or 8 goblins or whatever they are now, they're like insanely overpowered. But well, we'll see how well the goblins do with them. But Pickle Deer, if you would like to, now that you're part of the campaign, if you would like to design a level 8 goblin, I think level 8, you guys started at 5, went to 6, 7, 8, yeah. If you would like to design a level 8 goblin character, and its name has to rhyme with like Brack, Clack, or Crack, I think are the goblins' names. I can't remember. It's been a while now since we've played with them. But yeah, create your own level 8 goblin character, and the next time, like probably in between this, the adventure you guys are on right now, the Castle Bronze adventure for the Elder Council campaign, it will last you guys another level and a half or so. When you get done with that and get back to the safe haven town, you'll go back out on a Goblin Squad adventure, I think. So if you want to create your goblin, then that can be part of the Goblin Squad as well. I think that would be a lot of fun. It was a blast. But yes, Dr. Feargood's goblin cleric has a spirit sword named Jake. Well, I forgot about that. Jake was amazing. He actually did pretty good. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. Anyways, the whole point of that is, how much fun creative restrictions can be, and that was a restriction that we put on the side party that we created. Everyone had to be a goblin, and the adventure would be a pre-written adventure for like AD&D, like old school D&D. These adventures often were like very brutal dungeon crawling, and the funhouse dungeon, especially for White Plume Mountain, was like really, there's like traps and crazy nonsense going on all the time and puzzles, and it was just complete silliness, but it was so much fun. And if they would have just been able to create whatever character they want and min max it and go through, and I had to homebrew like a new adventure for it, it wouldn't be as much fun as like the story that we all have now. Like, oh, that remember that time we ran a bunch of dumb goblins through White Plume Mountain like that? Not many people get to do that, and it's so much fun. What classes are repped in the Goblin Squad so far? I believe Vampire King's Goblin is he's a sorcerer, a storm sorcerer, I believe. There is the NPC character that I played through it, is just a basic like champion fighter. Dr. Feargood's is a forge cleric, which was really cool. And Dr. Feargood's character is like the head of the Goblin Squad. He's a hobgoblin. And man, is there one more? Oh yeah, Samurai played a monk. So the monk and the fighter now will probably just be like interchangeable DM NPCs that I'll run through with you guys whenever they're needed or whatever. Or we can just go down to a 3-player party with just the 3 of you who are in the Elder Council campaign. So you can play whatever class you want. I guess the classes that are taken are sorcerer and cleric, but whatever else you want to play as is cool with me. And don't feel like you need to, pick a good class. Like the whole point of the Goblin Squad is not to be min-maxed or, serious at all. We have that for the main campaign. That's the big epic adventure hero storyline. The goblins are like, this is for fun. To take a break from the big epic lich killing adventure and just run some goblins into a brick wall and see how it goes. Goblin rogue it is, eh? That sounds like a lot of fun. Cool. So I don't really know. I don't think we have anything to add to this today. So these will just all have question marks after them, because these races are not set in stone for our world that we're creating here. If you guys have any, add-ons that you want, or any questions for the restriction of like just choosing a race from the player's handbook and deleting it from this world, any questions at all, comments, concerns, inspirations, leave a comment below on the YouTube channel, or stop by the Twitch stream anytime and let me know what you think. I personally think it's going to be a lot of fun. If we get, halfway through the design of this world at the end, once we've got all this stuff figured out, and we decide like, man, the story of this world, it's really lends itself. It would be way cool if we did actually have tieflings when we decided that we were going to delete them. So we can change stuff. We can always go back, but I think adding these creative restrictions is really, really fun, and adds a lot of cool dynamics to the design of the world. Were we planning on making a specialized race for this world with the new book? Well, I'm not going to use the new book, probably. I'll just homebrew it myself. I'm pretty confident in my abilities to just design one for myself. But I am planning on us together as a community homebrewing new, possibly multiple, at least one new race for the world, which we will get into. I think I'm not sure if in the next session we might still be kind of talking about this stuff and going over the results of these polls, but the next couple of sessions we will be talking about how to design your own homebrew races and classes and stuff to put into your world. So yes. And as far as the new book Dr. Feargood's talking about, this awesome new like guide to creating your own race book came out. And I got a copy of it. I believe Dr. Feargood has a copy of it. He's used it to awesome effect to make some cool mole people race. Dr. Feargood has a Patreon if you want to go check that out as well. Dr. Feargood's D&D Emporium or something like that. I can't remember the exact name. If you want to, Dr. Feargood, I can provide everybody a link to that. Super cool stuff. He also makes some really cool homebrew content for the game as well, and he's a DM himself. Can't wait to play in one of his games. But yeah, this new book came out that helps you homebrew races, and we will probably be talking about on the podcast here very shortly. Sweet, there you go. There's a link to Dr. Feargood's Patreon. The name of the book, yes, Dr. Feargood might know it better off the top of his head. Let me look on my email. The Ultimate Race Creator is the book, and it is from Loot the Boss. It's a custom like homebrew thing. It's called The Ultimate Race Creator, and it is from Team Loot the Boss, which is the D&D, company that creates homebrew content, kind of like a DM's Guild thing. I don't know if it's actually released on DM's Guild or it's just their own thing. I think it was a Kickstarter and now you can buy it from them. But if you just look up Loot the Boss Ultimate Race Creator, you can find that and check it out. It's pretty cool. We'll be going over that and more homebrew releases like DM's Guild stuff on the podcast here soon, and more official WotC releases as well on the podcast, like the new Descent into Avernus that came out. I picked up a copy of it, at least digitally. I'm still waiting to get the special cover version. I love to get those alternate cover versions of the books. But we will be going over the new enemy stat blocks and magic items and stuff that we can take and get inspiration from that. And I can't wait for the new Eberron book as well. All sorts of cool new stuff coming out. It's made to make about any race you want and have it balanced with the races in the books. That's right. So the way that the Ultimate Race Creator book works is like let's say you just pick what you're going to make. You're going to make slug bird people. And you can pick what traits or like what ability scores increases that you can give to your race, and it tells you like how to balance that to make it fair, so you're not just like, oh, this race gives a +2 to every ability score. That's obviously ridiculous, but it tells you like you can do +2 here and +1 here, and that's balanced with this race and that kind of stuff. It's a huge book of how to create races for your campaigns, and it tells you like different actual like racial abilities you can add to the race and still keep it balanced, and gives you some cool flavor and stuff like that. Definitely check it out, The Ultimate Race Creator. It's a cool book. I think we're gonna save all this here. Cool, we got an even split there. I like that. I'll post this straw poll one more time in case you guys want to vote. And then let me pull up my notes here. All right, I saved my link to the straw poll in the notes so we can check back on that after next week's session, and we'll see how it's going. And if you're on the YouTube video for this, I will leave a link down below and you can vote in that as well. Hopefully it'll still be live for the next week. I'm not sure if these things expire or if you can just continually vote in them, but we're going to call it a day there. And we will be back to this next Tuesday. If you're checking out this video, thank you so much. Hopefully you'll come by the live stream and have a good